Hello YouTube, this is Peck Tech, and today I'm going to do kind of a setup video for the Pixie water chiller from Vevor. So what happened with this product, I did an unboxing of this already, and I was going to do a mega unboxing, but you know, anymore I'm just getting kind of lackadaisical about that kind of stuff. It's an old gag. Mega! What I did with the original one, this isn't the original one, more on that in a second. So what I did with the original one was I donated it to the conservation fisheries. They want to do a tank for a fish that they really like a lot. And they're going to do a little show tank and put it out in their foyer and stuff. I delivered them the original chiller that we unboxed and stuff over there. And we did a little install for it. We ran into a couple of hiccups and some other things, and the tank itself wasn't particularly beautiful when we were done. It wasn't like a really showy tank. I mean, the main thing was to kind of create a nice, it wasn't ugly by any means, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like those ADA glass, you know, perfect kind of tanks. And that's kind of the way they roll over there. Conservation Fisheries is a place that's very much for rehabilitating species. They're all about breeding fish and making more of these fish. The fish that they care for or they study, a lot of times are critically endangered or just endangered or very rare. They're just only in one small part of the country. So it's important to make more of them if possible, and that's always the focus there. So I took that over there and set it up, and they've actually had this thing running for well over a month now, and it appears to be working flawlessly, they say. So that's really good. One hang-up we did have was the motor that it came with. It seemed a little bit rattly. The pump that it comes with is a little too big to fit behind the Matten filter, the setup that they have, and I had a feeling that it was just like not getting enough circulation, so it was causing that to rattle. When we put it into the tank itself, it seemed a little bit rattly too, but I'm not too certain. I haven't tested this other pump that I have here, but it'll be interesting to see how it does when I implement this. Other than the pump, everything seems to work great. And they did eventually use the pump that came with it. And I guess there hasn't been a problem. I offered them the canister filter I unboxed earlier this year because it has a really unique shaped pump that would fit behind that Matten filter. I'm not sure if they decided to use that or not. I'm going to go back this week and check that out. I've been a bit under the weather. They've been a bit under the weather or out there catching fish somewhere out in the world, so I haven't had a chance. But oddly enough, a second one showed up at my door. I didn't ask for a second one. It just kind of appeared. So I thought it might be interesting to show another implementation. I'm not going to personally set up a cold water tank. I don't really take care of species that require cold water, per se. But at one of my local fish stores, Aquatic Marine, they have an axolotl, well, it's where they sell their axolotls. So it's sort of like a cube farm of axolotls. They've actually made it so there's like a lot of space for some of the bigger ones to move around. And I think it'd be kind of neat. It's like a whole wall of axolotls, an axolotl wall. Whatever. So I'm going to take this apart and kind of show you guys how it works if you were to install it in your house. It's super simple. Like there's like almost no parts to this. And then I'm going to deliver this over to Aquatic Marine, and they're going to set it up in their axolotl tank. I'll show you their tank as it is so far. We probably won't see this installed today. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow up both on Conservation Fisheries and Aquatic Marine, and we'll see what's going on. But a little bonus sidetrack, I thought it might be interesting to actually look inside this, because I've been really curious about how they work. But there's just two screws that stand between us and the inside of this thing, so I think we ought to take a look. What do you say? Alright, so I've pulled out the stuff to sort of demo what a setup would be like, but one thing that happened when this one arrived, now the first one arrived just fine, but when this one arrived, it was a little bit disconnected up here at the top, like it started to come off, and I felt like I wanted to take a look inside, and I thought it was kind of interesting, so I've sort of put the lid back on. There's two screws on either side to actually take this front panel off. So we're just 2 screws away from like seeing what it really looks like inside this thing. You ready to take a look? Let's actually start here. So this is the filter, and it does have a little magnetic pull. So so if you kind of gently tug on the front of this, it'll come right off. And it has an air filter. They recommend you clean this out once a month to keep this thing running just the way it should. And then you can kind of take a look inside, but I've actually got it so that we can very easily do this and get a better look. So the water enters from the top. It's got a little bit of a water reservoir right here that it uses to feed it in there. I assume all the cooling happens inside of this. I really don't know how these things work. That's kind of neat. That's all it is. There's a reservoir here. It comes down. Some sort of thermoelectric cooling is happening down here, I presume. And it's sent back up. There's actually a whole technical diagram inside of the instructions that really explain like all the different parts of this, and I think it's pretty neat. But yeah, and of course there's a huge fan in the back here, as you can see. Airflow is definitely going this way. It's kind of being pulled across this way. It says you can use it to heat too, so I thought it was one of those chips that if you run the current one way, it's a heater, and run the current the other way, it's a chiller. I'm not sure that it's like that because the heating thing, the heating option that it has actually, there's a plug around the side of this thing, and you can use this thing's thermostat to activate that plug and turn on a heater if you want it to. I'm not sure what situation, if that was just something extra they threw on there, or if that's a situation that comes up a lot with this. I'm having trouble kind of wrapping my head around the chiller activating a heater, but I guess it could happen. All right, let's put this thing together. Let's put these screws back on here and very carefully reassemble this. And I'll show you how it goes together. So if you do decide to take it apart, on top here, you just kind of get the little, there's 2 little teeth. You kind of get those over the hump and make sure this tab's down low over here. So if you look on this filter, there's a little notch right here. And there's also a little notch right there. You can line those up. And there's a place for the feet on the vent cover to go down right there. If you get that all lined up, it just closes right up. And here's a close-up look at the SP2500. It comes with its own little instruction manual. And this is the pump that it comes with. It's a pretty simple pump. It comes with like this little filter guard here. I did see in the instructions that if you want to replace this pump or use a different kind of pump with this, they recommend it's got a head height, and that means that the distance that the pump can pump up, they want 26 feet or more of head height. Jury's kind of still out. I want to take this one over there and let Aquatic Marine mess with it, and they'll let me know how that does. Now as we, sorry, I've had a cold here. Boy, I need a boost. Oh, mama! Not a sponsor. I got this in the mail the other day. It's pure oxygen. Yeah. Here we go. So now as we shift our focus to the top of the tank, you'll see it has these little protective covers. I'm going to unscrew one of these off here and kind of show you how these top parts go. If you can see down on the top there, there's a little bit of a ridge. Like it's not kind of a typical thing. There's a little bit of a ridge there. It comes with these gaskets. A gasket's going to just fit right there on the top of that. Next, you've got these little tube attachments, and they're jutted out a bit so you can kind of get it pointed away from your, towards the back of your aquarium, or maybe towards the front, depending on how you've plumbed it, or towards the side, however you like it. Kind of place it like that, and you'll notice when you set this down, this little gasket here makes a perfect little resting spot for it. There's an extra gasket too for each of these, so comes with 4 of them. You've also got these little covers. Of course, this is going to fit over the top of this, just like so. So this is going to slide over the top. And once you get it to about this part, you got to kind of squeeze it. Whoop, pop. It gets it the rest of the way down. And then this is going to screw down, complete that seal, and give you a place to attach your hose. Now there are 2 of these, an in and an out. And of course that is how your water is going to get down there. They delivered a what I think is a 16 millimeter hose. This apparently will do 16 or 12 millimeter hosing. I'm not sure if this is 16 or 12. Does it say? The hose they sent seems pretty thick. It's not quite as big as I remembered. It seemed like last time we did this, the hose seemed kind of unyielding. They've included these little metal tightening rings to attach here. So you put that on your hose and then tighten it down. What's weird is, like, for the other side, it's like they felt like they had to do something. There's no inlet or outlet for your aquarium. I mean, you've got this, which is presumably in your aquarium, but there's nothing to facilitate the water returning to your aquarium. That's why I feel very much like this would work better as an inline system. Like if you're going to put this as part of an overall system, maybe attach a canister filter to that to aid in the head height of maybe the pump that you want to use. I could definitely see this being like, you know, it goes through the canister filter, then it goes through this, then back into the aquarium. And maybe use the canister filters like return to do it, because this doesn't have one at all. In fact, all it's got is a suction cup. It's got a suction cup and another hose. Well, and another one of these. I'm not sure what you would attach this to. And maybe it's just in case you did have something you wanted to, like a different return, but it didn't come with one, or any way to facilitate the water going back into the aquarium. So after you've got all the plumbing and stuff set up, this part is really simple. And of course I don't have this plugged in right now because, you know, there's no water around. But it's got a heat mode and it's got a cool mode. You'll probably be using it for the cool mode. For the heat mode, there's actually an outlet on the side of this thing, way down here. Right next to where the plug-in is and where the power is. You could plug in a heater and use this thermostat to activate the plug on the side of this thing, if you wanted to. Otherwise, for the cooler, you just kind of set it to the temperature you want. It'll get within 2 degrees of that temperature, then it activates, and it'll, I guess, over the course of 2 minutes or so, it'll start to come on, and then it chills. It'll make the water cooler, kind of cool the water while it's in there, and then send it out. So, and then I'll do that until it gets within 2 degrees of its shut-off temperature, and then I'll stop. It's really that simple. What's interesting too is that it's probably going to generate a little bit of heat coming out the back. So you can use this to kind of specifically cool down one kind of tank. There's a lot of saltwater folks that use these sort of things. There's less maybe occasions for freshwater folks that I know of. If you're doing fish that come from streams and stuff like that, especially around East Tennessee where I'm from, then yeah, you probably need to keep that water a bit cooler than the tropical stuff that you're typically seeing with my tanks. Huge thank you to the folks that sent me these things to demonstrate for you guys. If you'd like one, there's a link down below. It is an affiliate link. I do get a little bit if you decide to buy it off there, so thanks. So far, the one that I have in service has been running for about a month or so, and it seems to be working perfectly according to Conservation Fisheries. I'm going to take this over today and get it installed, and we'll do a follow-up on both of those projects very soon. Folks, I got a few more videos I want to talk to you about before the end of the year. One is I purchased these critically endangered fish that I'm going to try to breed and make more of. We'll be learning more about that next week. Until next time, follow your bliss. Keep a clean tank, a chill tank. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.